Hey guys, UV here. I recently had a lapse in safety coverage for myself, and I just wanted to share that experience with you. I had a very tiny job with titanium, and I was grinding a small part of it down, and I ended up inhaling some of the dust. And boy, that was nasty stuff. I later read about the safety issues regarding titanium, and that was just really foolish of me. It was a new material that I was working with. Of course, I knew how to TIG weld it, but I should have done the research to see how I needed to protect myself from that, from the titanium. It was just a foolish mistake, So, yeah, I had congestion, fatigue for a little while, and I finally, got over that. So it made me think I should share some of my safety tips with you because, believe it or not, I am very mindful about safety. So I wanted to share with you the contents of the bag that I carry with me to my different job sites. I work for a blacksmith and a stainless steel and bronze sculptor. So whenever I go to their shop, I bring this bag along. Okay, so let's get started with respirators. All respirators or cartridges for respirators will have a letter and some numbers. The numbers is the percentage of air that is filtered, and the letter stands for, well, there'll be one of three letters, N, R, or P. So in this case, there's an N. N stands for not resistant to oil. If there's an R, it'll be resistant to oil. And then if there's a P, that stands for proof or oil proof. So, this is a good dust mask. You could use it if you're welding, mild steel or something. But I don't like to use these while I'm welding because if I have to pick up a grinder, those grinding sparks will hit this material and it'll melt it a little bit, and you get this taste of burnt plastic in your mouth, and it is very unpleasant. So instead, while I'm welding, I like to use these cartridges on a face mask. So this is a P100 filter made by 3M. So it filters out almost 100% of the particles. I think it's like 99.97 or something. It's basically a HEPA filter. It doesn't filter any kind of chemical fumes or anything, but it's great for as a dust mask, and when you just have to worry about particles. So also, this is the new 3M mask with the quick latch. So it takes the same cartridges as the 6000 series, and in this case, it has the quick latch function, which is just amazing. I highly recommend this, guys, especially if you work with other people, because the quick latch, it really aids in communication when you have a lot of safety gear on. So let me just demonstrate. So you got a latch here that tightens everything up. Oh, you can't hear me? Well, let me take my latch off, and now you can hear me. So you can see this is a game changer for me when it comes to respirators, because some of the people I work with, their hearing's not so good, and I mean, forget about it. If they have earplugs in and you have your mask on, it's impossible to communicate. So this definitely helps bring the communication up a little bit. All right, so let me show you another cartridge. So guys, this is the cartridge that I prefer to use. I do a lot of stainless TIG welding. Stainless is a very nasty material to work with. You have chromium, and with that you have acidic gas, which is horrible to inhale, and the particles are really bad to breathe in too. And so I like to use these cartridges that will filter that. Before I used to have an acidic vapor or acidic gas cartridge separate with a volatile organic compound cartridge, but I just find it easier to buy these multi-gas masks. That way I have less to carry and less to think about when I need to put protection on. These pink filters are pre-filters, and they're P100, and then this is the area that houses the material that filters out the bad vapors and gases. So that's what I like to use. Now you're saying to yourself, UV, you're crazy. How can you weld with such crazy big cartridges? They seem like they would get in the way. And you're right, they would if you had a normal welding helmet, but I've modified my helmet so that I have room for these. And I'm just gonna rant a little bit right now, guys. To get this level of protection while welding, you need to have a PARP system, P-A-R-P. And that's a system where the cartridges are behind your back, and there's a tube that provides fresh air to either to a mask like this, or somehow through some opening in the hood provides the fresh air there. And they're expensive. This is a very affordable way to have good filtration. Why do helmet manufacturers provide space for a cartridge like this? Why are you forced to purchase a more expensive product when the helmet could just be made a little bit larger to accommodate a mask like this? So, okay, enough of my rant. I'll show you my mask that I made, or I should say modified. So this is my Jackson helmet. What I've done is I've cut away the plastic, melted some holes in here for rivets, and I've used this vinyl I had laying around to have a flexible area that goes around my mask. So I'll demonstrate real quick. So as you can tell, manufacturers don't need to modify their equipment that much to accommodate something like this. So hopefully someone's listening, and maybe they can make a little profit with something like this. Okay, another thing, I like to keep all my filters and cartridges in a plastic bag because I want them to last. I want them to be working while I'm wearing it and not while they're sitting around unused. Okay, so another thing about these masks is you want to keep some alcohol hand wipes around to wipe the interior out once in a while. Believe me, you do not want to go a long time without doing that. And if you do, you might be afraid, you might be frightened of what you find in there. So keep it clean, and if you're an employer, definitely provide them. I believe that's required to provide a way to clean the surface here and inside for hygiene for people, for multiple users of the safety equipment. All right, guys. So recently I got into these earmuffs with the amplified speakers. I highly recommend these, especially those with hearing loss, because you can amplify the sound around you. Not the sound that would hurt your ears, but the quieter sounds or the normal sounds of people talking, birds chirping, a radio on. You can hear all that, but the sound will cut out when there's a loud sound, and then the muffs, the protection, the physical part of the muffs will prevent the sound from coming in. This is a more sophisticated one I have. This is NNR. The rating is NNR 24. So this one's a little bit better, and for protection, you can tell it's a little bit bulkier. That's probably where the protection comes from. And this has a lot more features, more bells and whistles. Has a little light that you can illuminate your area with while you're working. These both have MP3 players. I found that this, when you have sound going into your jack, the sound from whatever device you're listening to gets muted when the speakers get shut off when it senses a loud sound. This is by High Score, and this device does not do that. The MP3 mode allows you to use your phone. It comes with a microphone that will plug into this jack and to your phone, so you could have conversation without taking this off. This also comes with a neck strap that allows you to mount these without the strap on top. Didn't work for me. I threw them away. They would just slide off. I was not happy with them. It does come with a little belt hook that you can hook these onto. That I find very handy. So I'm very happy with these. Okay, so regardless of these earmuffs, I still have to have earplugs in my pocket at all times when I work, because I might have to put on a welding hood and not wear these, wear these instead. Someone else might be working, making loud noise. And so these are my 3M plugs that I highly recommend. They are my favorite plugs. They're kind of, if you compare this to other earplugs, it's like comparing a foam mattress to a spring mattress. If you squeeze them, they take a really long time to open up again, and that means this is a good material, and this is also fresh. The older these get, the quicker they expand out. And so what's great about this design is, because of the fact that it stays closed for so long, it gives you plenty of time to get the earplug in your ear canal. Okay? So real quick, let me show you a foolproof way to get these in your ears and to keep them on. Something I learned from watching Barry at Moss Pond on YouTube. The way he shows it, I think, is the best way to put these in your ears. You smush them up, put them in your ear canal, and then you hold it in there until the earplugs fully expand in there. Otherwise, if you let go now, if you let go too soon, they will expand as they fall out. And you know when they've expanded fully when the sound is just dead. And when you speak, you kind of can feel nothing, a lot of vibrations in your head almost. It's kind of funny. But yeah, that's definitely the way to go. Some people will kind of use this part of your ear to prevent them from falling out, which is fine, but definitely you got to hold them in until they fully expand. That's the way to go with these. All right, guys, let's move on to gloves here. I gotta say, I'm really happy with this brand here, Memphis. I've got a couple different gloves made by them now, and I'm just really impressed at the price and quality. These are my TIG and MIG welding gloves. They're kind of dirty right now, so if I had a stainless job, I wouldn't use these gloves. I would get another pair of fresh gloves for a stainless job. But I use this for TIG welding, MIG welding, and of course, if I have to handle something, I don't mind using these briefly. But if I'm cutting a bunch of material, or if I have to move a bunch of material, I will wear a pair of gloves like this. It has a palm reinforcement, and they're cheap. They're $6 gloves. Unfortunately, they're not made with Kevlar. I would prefer that all my gloves had Kevlar stitching because, for example, if you're using this pair for grinding, the grinding sparks can burn away the cotton stitching, and you'll have separation here. Almost immediately. So that's not a problem for me because I repair all my gloves. Yeah, hey, another thing about repairing gloves. Every time you repair a glove, you save yourself $6. That's just how I see it. And a worn-in glove, to me, is worth more than a brand new glove that's not worn in. Let me show you some examples of repairs. You want to keep your old worn-out gloves around for repairs. Here's an example. Here's a MIG welding glove that got shrunk so much that it was uncomfortable to use. So I cut out a leather, probably cut out this piece here and left it open so I have a little bit more room here, and cut away a portion of the glove that was damaged. And here I used shoe glue. Very good stuff, very flexible. Highly recommend doing repairs like this. Hey, this is another $6 or $8 I just saved. Great pair of gloves, and they're still worn in. Here's an example of some extreme repairs that have gone on over the time, and now this glove is being used as a donor glove. I just want to recommend a quick technique. If you're out in the field doing repairs, or if you're out in the field and you need to repair gloves, super glue is the way to go, guys. I keep a little tube around, and this one has the applicator. Wow, it's looking kind of gooey. I wonder if it's old. But the trick to using the glue is not to glue a large area and stick it down. You want to be sparing. You want to do a little section and push down, and make sure you keep your fingers moving so they don't get stuck to each other, okay? And make sure you disconnect if the little glue comes through on the inside immediately. So you do a little area, and then you do that, okay? See how it almost stuck to my fingers? So, and then you just keep going. Let's see if I can quickly do this. All right, so I'm just gonna do a little middle area. Oh yeah, gotta keep it moving. All right, make sure my finger's not glued on. Okay, so now that I've done the middle area, I can just quickly move on. Make sure I'm not gluing my finger in there. The key is to just keep it moving and the glue will not set your finger to the glove. Alright, so you can see this goes pretty quickly. You know, sometimes the glue job will fail, but most of the time it works for me. You know, a more flexible glue is the way to go, but it's not going to give you instant protection on the job. You're going to have to wait 24 hours for that glue to dry. Oh, just kidding, guys. All right, so enough of that. Oh, here's another pair of gloves I recently got into, and I am also loving the Memphis. These are sold as MIG welding gloves. They're Kevlar stitched, super thick. We got a extra reinforcement on the forefinger, the thumb, the palm, and honestly, guys, I don't really use this for MIG welding. I use this for heavy material handling. So I have these Kevlar fiber gloves, and I use this for when I'm working with the blacksmith. If I'm hammering on the anvil, I will only wear one glove so that I still have the dexterity in my hand while I'm holding the hammer, so I can really get a feel for what the hammer's doing and where it's at. And then this Kevlar fabric glove allows you to hold on to materials that are very hot. So both gloves come in really handy. So one thing that I have to deal with that you may or may not have to think about is the brown recluse spider. When I'm working at the blacksmith's shop, I deal with them regularly. They're just all over the place. It's just a lot of them around. If there's something on the floor that's been there for a while, or something that's been in storage for a while, and you know you move something, it's pretty common to find one. In fact, if you don't see one around, you think to yourself, "Huh, I wonder where they are." With regards to gloves, if I leave a pair of gloves laying around for a while at his shop, if I keep them there overnight, what I do is I like to wring out my gloves. So if for some reason a brown recluse has crawled up in there, I smush it in there, and I don't have to worry about getting bitten by it. Let's move on to eyewear. I have some reading glasses that I use while I'm TIG welding. If you watched the recent episode on weld.com, Mr. TIG has some great advice about using these reading glasses. He points out that TIG welding light is a lot lower compared to MIG welding light, which he demonstrates pretty well. And so for people getting old, I'm in my, I'm 41. For people getting old and losing their vision, these cheap reading glasses are excellent. These are my safety glasses. I've replaced the lenses maybe four or five times with this frame. I've repaired them. I just love these glasses because of the screen here, which allows ventilation through, and that coverage I find is enough for 99% of the stuff that I do. Sometimes I'll be forced to wear a face mask, which is not my favorite thing, but if I really have to, I will. But I find that this is a lot of coverage right here. Sometimes I find myself wearing these when I braze. These are great because as you're brazing and you need to do a little bit of work with a file or grinder, you flip this up and you still have protection, and you don't have to switch glasses all the time. So highly recommend these. These are worth every penny. All right, guys, let's talk about hats. I don't like to buy welding hats. I like to just buy hats in the thrift store. and I'll just find a hat that works, you know, cotton, wool, and cut the brim off. And the most important part to using cheap hats is you got to cut that button off. A wire cutters right underneath the button will take it right off, and then the backing will pull out, and you'll have yourself a hat that you can work with. Because that button, if you're wearing a welding helmet, that pressure will really mess you up on your head. So that's why you want to remove that. Hey guys, I used to buy the arm sleeves that you can wear with t-shirts, you know, for hot days, MIG welding or I guess stick welding. But, you know, I find that they just don't last long and they're kind of expensive. Now I know there might be some, you know, that's just my experience. There might be some products out there that work real well and last a lot longer. Like, well, like leather sleeves, they work real well. I just find them to be kind of heavy and cumbersome and hot. So what I like to do, this is another thrift store situation. You get yourself a good thick material cotton shirt, a 100% cotton shirt. Doesn't matter if it's got stains. And you chop off what you don't need, okay? And you just throw these on, put your gloves on, and weld away, and you're protecting your skin from radiation as you're welding. You know, this is actually the first one that I've done, and I'm really happy with them. They're light enough where you know they don't heat you up too much, and they give you just enough protection, you know, to get by. I mean, you know, it's not going to work as good as leather, but you know, if I'm wearing a full sleeve shirt, I never find myself putting protection on my arms, so I find that this is just enough. The reason why you want to cut it off is you don't want all this extra hanging off of here. I can wear this unbuttoned, and I could be grinding away and I'm not worry about anything getting caught in the grinder. You know, if I was really close to the work, then yeah, I could button it up. But here, I don't even need to have it buttoned up. I just have it like that. Okay, I got to talk about my boots. We have an all leather shoe with a steel toe and a metatarsal guard. I've worked in shops, a lot of heavy material moving around, and this is the level of safety that I'm comfortable with. This green stripe, I don't know if it's marketing, but they claim that it gives you a level of protection against electrocution, which is good for me because you know, when I'm out on jobs on my own, I find that sometimes the only source of electricity is to piggyback into someone's circuit breaker. So you know, you are dealing with electricity, welding, of course. Okay, so another thing that I highly recommend is leather shoelaces. Now, my boot has the Met guard, so my laces are covered by my long pant leg and the Met guard. So my shoelaces are never exposed to, you know, sparks falling from MIG welding or, you know, molten metal falling. This is protected, but the good thing about a leather shoelace is that it's not going to burn. You know, nylon shoelaces will melt if you get a hot enough piece of material on your shoelaces. So that's why I like to go with leather shoelaces. I have to stress that you cannot use the cheap leather shoelaces. They're not worth the money. You don't know how long they've sat on the shelf, and they could be dried out and crispy. They could break pretty soon after you're using them, and they're kind of thin. I get my shoelaces from Strawtown near Indianapolis. There's a guy that sells all sorts of scrap leather pelts, and he sells strips of leather for shoelaces, and they work real well. They have flexibility to them, a stretch when you pull them really tight, and yeah, I really like them. Hey, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something. Hope it wasn't too boring. I hope there's enough information here that at least someone learned a thing or two. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and have a nice day unless you have other plans.